This movie is about a psycho husband who always doubts his wife, that his wife is sleeping with other mans too. But when he loses both of his legs in an accident, he goes even crazier. I'm pretty sure you will love to know what he does to his beautiful wife after that. Let's find out. The story starts with a couple named John and Ollie. His wife gets ready to go to his job. Ollie quickly kisses him and walks out of there, but he goes after her just to watch where is she going. This man was such a psycho that he was keeping an eye on his wife all the time. He works as a driver in a hospital who drive ambulance for living. One day, when Ollie was taking the shower in the bathroom, then a message come on her phone. He quickly takes a look at her phone. It was a man who was messaging her, but John doesn't care about that message much. It was nothing. Next day, when he was taking a patient to the hospital, then, all of a sudden a truck crashed into their ambulance. In this accident, he loses both of his legs and become paralyzed. When he comes home from hospital after a few days, his wife says, "I don't care if you have lost both of your legs, I still love you, John, and I always will." But he just kept crying whole night. One day when his wife was going out, that same guy calls her and talks to her who was messaging her. John asks his wife, "Honey, whose call was that?" She says, "It was my friend, and I have to meet him at urgent." Then he says, "That's why you were getting dressed so well, you have a date." She says, "Please darling, don't doubt me, I am your wife." He says, "I'm not doubting you, I'm just asking you." Then she gives him a kiss and walks out of there. One night, when these two were sitting and talking with each other, John asks her, "Could you get me my pills from the other room?" When she leaves, he quickly installs an app in her phone, through which he could spy at her even from the home. Next day when she goes to her job, John opens a laptop and keeps looking at her location, that where is she at, where is she going. Next day, when she was sitting at her office, then he was listening to her through his laptop at home, that who is she talking to. He was so frustrated with his neighbor's dog that he decides to get rid of him, because he just keeps barking all night for no reason. That's why he hides some needles in a piece of meat, and goes to the garden after him. When he gets the chance, he feeds that dog that piece of meat. This poor dog dies a very painful death because of this crazy man. At night when his wife comes home, she gets shocked to see that her husband made dinner for her. These two happily have dinner together and then do romance whole night with each other. Next day when John was taking the shower in the bathroom, Ollie sends a message from her phone. She instantly heard a sound. It was weird. She sends in another message and she hears the same sound again. After listening carefully, she felt like that sound is coming from the room. When she goes into that room, she sees a laptop, which was filled with all of her messages. She gets to know, whenever I send a message from my phone, it will show in this laptop right away. She also sees her own face in that laptop through the front camera of the phone. Within a minute, she gets to understand that her husband is spying on her all the time. She quickly packs her bag and runs away from the house forever. When John comes out after taking the shower, he sees Ollie is not here. He goes straight to her laptop's room and sees his laptop is on. When he looks at her closet, it was empty too. He had known that Ollie has gone forever because she found out that I was spying on her all the time through her phone. John gets really lonely after she was gone. He had to do all the work by himself, even buying groceries from the market. After a few days, he decides to ask for forgiveness for all the things he did to her. He goes to the place where Ollie worked just to talk to her. But when Ollie comes out of the office, a man comes to pick her up. He sees both of them kissing each other. John feels really bad that his wife is doing romance with another man behind his back. No matter where they went, he kept following them. Later, he went to a pharmacy shop and bought lots of medicine for himself. One day, he goes to see Ollie and tries to talk to her. He says, "I know you don't want to talk to me, but all I want is to spend some time with you." She says, "I don't want to go anywhere with you." Even then, he convinced her to go with him at his home one last time. John says, "I still got some of your stuff at my home. I want you to have it and take it with you." She says, "Where is it?" He says, "It's in the room." When she goes into that room, John goes after her. There, he injects something in her back. She asks her, "What the hell are you doing?" John quickly grabs her and makes her lie on the bed. She passes out in a couple of minutes. When Ollie wakes up, she finds herself tied up to the bed, and John was sitting right in front of her. She starts shouting for help, but he plays the music so loud that no one could hear her. He was actually enjoying her suffering like that. At night, he comes to her and says that I heard you were pregnant. She says, "Let me go, John." She starts shouting once again very loudly. John grabs her mouth and injects her once again with something to make her fall asleep. He sleeps right next to her on the same bed. Next day, his neighbor comes to him and says, "I heard someone shouting in your home last night. Who was with you?" John says, "I have nobody in my home," and makes him leave. One day when she wakes up, she sees her hands are not tied anymore, but when she tries to move her legs, she feels like her legs are not working at all. He says, "I gave you an injection to make you paralyzed. Darling, now you are just like me." She somehow reaches a door and tries to open it, but she just couldn't open it. And John was enjoying her crawling and so helpless like that. At night, when John was trying to have a dinner with her, all of a sudden Ollie hits a bottle on his head and quickly tries to run away from him. But he goes after her and gives her another injection to make her passes out. She falls asleep within a minute. Suddenly, his neighbor comes over there and says, "I heard someone shouting for help once again. Who's inside?" John says, "There is no one in my house." He says, "Tell me the truth or I will call the cops right away." John says, "Okay, come inside and have a look by yourself." When he comes inside and looks around, he sees Ollie is wounded and lying on the floor. All of a sudden, John stabs him with a knife in his back again and again. That old man dies right in front of him. After that, he calls someone, asks them to come home, and gives them some money to get rid of his body. Next day, cops come to his home for investigation because Ollie's boyfriend complained a missing report of Ollie against him, that she has been missing for a couple of days, and John must have something to do with it. But cops only questions him about Ollie's missing report. They don't search his house for Ollie. After a while, they walk out of his home. He knew he could get in trouble. He must deal with his boyfriend. That's why he goes to her boyfriend's home and wait for him to come home by hiding in the bathroom. When he comes home, he sneaks behind him and injects him with anesthesia drug to make him pass out. After that, he put even more liquid drugs into his mouth, so cops feel like he died because of drugs overdose. Next morning, when these two were having breakfast, John proposes her for marriage once again. Ollie looks at him in shocked that why is he even doing that? He says, "I know, one day you will get ready to marry me once again." After that, Ollie goes into the bathroom, takes a sharp small knife, and hides it inside her body. At night, when John goes to buy more medicine, then Ollie gets that knife out of her body and starts cutting her ropes. After that, she slowly goes to the door and breaks the lock of that door by a screwdriver. Ollie kept crawling all the way to the stairs. When she was about to escape, all of a sudden John comes home and sees her escaping from the house. He quickly tries to catch her, and Ollie kept crawling down from these stairs. Even then, he catches her. These two starts fighting with each other, but accidentally, Ollie pushes him away from these stairs and he falls all the way to the first floor. Now Ollie was free from him, but after this accident, John's condition gets even more critical. Now he couldn't even move a single part of his body. When he was sitting at the hospital, Ollie gets over there. And just by looking at her, he gets really scared. And then Ollie says, "I promise you, my darling, you will be in good hand. I will always take care of you from now on." And then she takes him away from hospital to her home. This story ends here. You can watch more video by clicking on the screen if you want. I hope you liked this video. If you really did, then please click the subscribe button for more romantic stories like this.